Toyota has cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks of any size. But the only thing they were missing in their portfolio is a station wagon. And even though Toyota wouldn't call this vehicle a station wagon, I think it is one. In other countries, Toyota sells station wagons, but not in the US or Canada. And we had the Toyota Venza before, which preceded this car. But let's be honest, the latest generation wasn't a station wagon whatsoever. But this one actually looks like it. Even if we compare the ground clearance of this car and the outgoing Subaru Outback, they are very similar. And everyone considers the Outback to be a station wagon. It is not lifted as low as the E-Class station wagon or the RS6 Avant, but it is still pretty low for an SUV. So I think being a luxury station wagon is somewhat unique in this market, but you've probably clicked on this video because you saw the title, which says the closest thing to a Lexus. And I believe this is an absolute fact because this car looks like a Lexus from the outside, it looks from the inside like a Lexus, and it has this comfortable, luxurious ride that all Lexus models do have, but at the same time not being a total boat. And I believe you can get 90% of all the Lexus experience in this 2025 Toyota Crown Signia. There's also a Crown Estate in other markets as well, which is sold as a station wagon. So Toyota cannot fool us that this is another SUV. It is definitely closer to the station wagon. But since the station wagon, car, SUV, call it whatever you want, is the closest thing to a Lexus, it makes sense that it costs pretty much the same as Lexus vehicles. So in Canada, we only get the limited trim, while in the US, you can get the XLE base trim and then jump to the limited trim. So in Canada, the pricing starts at around $60,000 Canadian, and in the US, you can get the XLE for 45,000-ish American dollars, or the limited for $50,000-ish. And today we're testing the limited trim with the advanced technology package, which is the only optional package you can purchase with this Crown Signia, and it costs a couple grand more. So I wanted to talk first about one of the strongest suits of this car, which is the interior, because it is Lexus-like, as I described before, and it has lots of nice features. I want to begin with this Lexus-like interior layout with lots of comfortable touches all around the cabin, and it feels like everything is in the right place. With the limited trim, you can get this two-tone tan interior. It definitely helps this cabin to feel more luxurious, to feel more comfortable, and we also get this aluminum gold accent trim around the vents and across the dashboard. The seats themselves are very comfortable, both in the front and the back, and they're probably the nicest seats you can get in any Toyota product today, and the closest thing to a Lexus seat as well. If someone put me here for the first time and replaced all of the Toyota badges with the Lexus ones and told me this is a Lexus, I would definitely believe them. And this is how I can tell that this Toyota Crown Signia is very, very close to what we call a Lexus. But the niceties on the interior don't end just on the materials side of things. We also get lots of physical buttons with great features, such as heated and ventilated seats in the front, heated seats in the back if you get the limited trim. You also get this panoramic sunroof, also with the limited trim. Lots of physical buttons again on the steering wheel, which are very intuitive to use. And very close to the shifter, you get this camera view button, which you can pull up anytime you want, and it will give you the panoramic view from the top down and very high quality cameras. So some other highlights of this interior is ample space in the front and the back. I actually had a friend who was 6'2", sitting behind me for maybe half an hour on the road trip, and he actually felt very comfortable in the back seat. So if you want to fit at least 2 full-size adults in the back of your Crown Signia, it will do it without any issues. And the other highlight is that all of these features I'm describing you are all available through the physical buttons. Your AC is controllable through the physical buttons. You have lots of physical controls on your steering wheel as well. You got some other controls near the shifter for your brake hold, for your EV mode, for your traction control. Everything is available through the physical controls. But all of this doesn't mean you don't get a nice touchscreen. This 12.3-inch infotainment system is great. It's quick, it's very high resolution, and it doesn't have any gimmicks. You get a wireless CarPlay and Android Auto from the get-go. So what I do most of the time, I jump in, I throw my phone right away into this nicely situated wireless charger, which doesn't let my phone rattle, and it just stays put over there. And it will automatically pull up my Apple CarPlay right away. And I never exit this screen. I just use my maps, I just use my music, and that's it. The infotainment system doesn't hide any of its features deep down into the menu. All the things you want are easily accessible. If you want to change any setting, you just do and never touch it again. And I feel like the overall experience of driving this car is that nothing gets into your way. Nothing makes you feel anxious. Everything is about you being comfortable and focusing on your driving, which is great. And speaking of screens, you also get this nice digital cluster as well. And the great thing is that you have 3 different layouts to configure for yourself. And the other thing, which I like the most, is this Eco Score game, which I usually put on the left right here. And it actually helps me be more engaged, and it makes driving more fun because I can focus on beating my own Eco Score every time I start, cruise, and stop. And it is actually making this car also great because you can get such a great fuel economy. Let's check our fuel economy for this trip. So far, it's 5.8 liters per 100 kilometers. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 40 miles per gallon. And we were not even in the eco mode. We are actually in custom mode that I configured for myself. And it is basically the normal mode, but with the sport steering. And one other thing that makes this car just like a Lexus is this magical elbow rest, which opens from both sides. So yes, this car is packed with lots of great features on the inside. But I also think it looks very sophisticated from the outside as well. It has this techy, premium, but at the same time sleek overall design, which makes it much more appealing than other cars from Toyota's lineup. I actually like the DRL design on the front, and the headlights are actually hidden below the DRLs. The taillights are also very interesting. It has this light bar design, which is very common among the cars in today's market. And with the limited trim, you can also get the 2-tone exterior color as well. And I also feel like that the black roof helps this car look a little bit lower than it actually is. And even though the Crown Signia looks a lot like a Lexus, it doesn't have these new door handles. And the great thing about them is that you can unlock and lock a car with all 4 doors, which is a very nice premium feature. So you can buy a Crown Signia only in hybrid form, and it has around 243 horsepower, which I think is adequate. But for some people, if we talk about $45,000 to $50,000 US, it could be not inspiring. But I think this car is not about speed. And actually, most of the hybrid cars are not about going fast. They are about being smooth and efficient. And I feel like if you're driving this car in the smooth, refined fashion, it will reward you. It will reward you with great fuel economy and a nice, comfortable driving experience. So 0 to 60 time in the Crown Signia is about 7 seconds, which is actually quite adequate if you think about the car of this size, which can fit 5 people very comfortably, with lots of cargo room inside as well. But even in sport mode, which I'm going to demonstrate later, it doesn't feel like this car wants to go as fast as it's supposed to. But I think it's totally okay, because this car behaves the best when you are driving it slowly, smoothly, efficiently, and with care. So when it comes to sporty driving, this car is not sporty at all. And it isn't trying to be one. And I think that's fair. I feel like every single car in the market has its own purpose. I enjoyed driving this car smoothly, efficiently this whole week. Last week I had the WRX, and it was definitely much more fun to drive, but in a different way. So if we talk about steering, it's not lots of feedback, but there's some. And also, you can configure the steering to be more sporty if you want, to gain a little bit more weight. This is what I've done. And we are approaching our highway ramp right now. So let's jump into the sport mode and show you the acceleration. And I'll prove you that it is more than adequate. So it's not super fast, but again, it's adequate. You'll be able to merge safely onto any highway, to overtake someone on the highway without any problem. Let me show you. You'll keep up with the traffic without any issues. It's just great to drive it like this. Cruising, utilizing the EV mode, get yourself into the adaptive cruise control, which has every single thing that you want. It will steer assist for you. It will maintain the speed. It will maintain the distance between you and the car in front of you. And if you want, it will even change lanes for you. Like this. Let's do it again to the right side. So he's checking the surroundings for us and making sure there's no car in the right lane. And it just makes the whole driving experience on the highway effortless. What I enjoy about this car is that it's not a next disposable product. As we all know, Toyotas and Hondas and Lexuses, they have a great resale value. And even though this car costs a lot when you buy it new, if you think about it as the product that you're not going to sell in 3 to 4 years, and you can drive it for a long time and still have lots of resale value, when you decide to sell it, it becomes a good value because you don't have to spend lots of time and money to maintain this car and to fix it. I think for a lot of people, $60,000 Canadian is a big ask, especially when we consider the competition for this car. Even within the Toyota Lexus lineup, this car competes with the Lexus NX, which we see in the front. And Highlander actually has 3 rows, while this one has only 2. And the lower trim of the Highlander even costs cheaper than this Crown Signia. Some people would choose a Camry because Camry has a new hybrid powertrain. It has a newer Toyota overall design. And I'm not even talking about some other competition from Hyundai, Honda, and etc. But honestly, there's more good things to say about this Crown Signia than bad ones. And I feel like Toyota has done a great job when it comes to interior, exterior, great features on the inside, and combining them all with the physical buttons as well. And overall, I think it's just cool to have an interesting luxury wagon on the market in the face of this Crown Signia, which is actually quite cheaper than, let's say, a Volvo V60 cross country or Volvo V80 cross country or the E-Class station wagon. And this car is very honest. It doesn't have any gimmicks. It just has all of the features that you need in the modern days without giving you a headache on how to use them. Thank you so much for watching. You can watch my other car reviews on the screen if you want it. And as always, stay safe out there, keep enjoying the drive, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.